What's up guys, I'm Chillpill and welcome back to another episode of Black Sheep Reviews. Rejoice my brothers and sisters, for today is a glorious and momentous day. I'm sure you've noticed I'm looking a bit white at the moment, well, more than usual. That's because, thanks to the Church of the One Concern, I was granted the honor of bathing in the ivory waters of the Holy Transcender, only to emerge from the vessel with some magical powers and this slick devil-may-cry hairdo. And I'm apparently now the human ambassador to some great and powerful star worm. It's been a weird day. But hey, still not as weird as Scientology, am I right? If you find yourself wanting to learn more about One Concern-ism, then I invite you to play Iconoclasts, a 2D adventure platformer that takes place on a dystopic planet where freelance mechanics are outlawed and religious albinos reign supreme. So, grab your favorite wrench, pick up your trusty blaster, and let's get ready to kick some theocratic butt as we take a look at Iconoclasts. Can we take a second to appreciate the fact that everything in this game was made by just one guy? Joachim Sandberg, the sole member of dev studio Cognac, spent 8 painstaking years developing Iconoclast, and the results are frickin' amazing. The character models, the boss fights, the story, the music, all the things. One guy. That's cool and everything, but can he do this? Your move, Joachim. For a 2D platformer, Iconoclast has a surprisingly deep plot that touches on several heavy themes such as environmental conservation, refusing to conform to societal norms that go against your own ideals, and, most importantly, bathing regularly. In this game, you play as Robin, a plucky young mechanic with crazy wrench hair that is constantly having her talents repressed by an overarching theocratic organization called the One Concern. Led by a papal figurehead known simply as Mother, this aptly named institution is hellbent on mining every last bit of the planet's ivory, which is basically the life force for all living things, and it's up to Robin, her brother Elro, a stinky pirate named Mina, and young Colonel Sanders to overthrow the tyrannical church and save the world from total destruction. I'm truly impressed with just how ambitious and well thought out the story is, but if I'm being honest, it can initially come across as convoluted due to the sheer amount of in-game lore that is unloaded on the player in the beginning moments of the game. Now, if you're anything like me, you'll probably be tempted to just button mash your way through the seemingly endless text box so you can get back to blasting everyone and everything you see with lasers, but you'd be doing yourself a huge disservice. The story in Iconoclast is surprisingly intricate and is supported by a strong cast of backstory-rich characters and thought-provoking dialogue. Well, for the most part. And the way the dev is able to convey character emotions simply by enlarging and animating text is ingenious. But there was one little thing that always seemed a bit off to me. Minor as it may be, general sentence structure and grammar felt kinda skewed at times and had me rereading bits of text to fully grasp what was being said. This might be due to the fact that Joachim isn't a native English speaker, but then again, maybe I just suck at reading. Nah, can't be the case. I'm like the best at reading. Oh, I know some of these words. In an ever-expanding ocean of mediocre, retro-inspired indie games, it's becoming increasingly difficult for devs who use pixel art in their projects to really stand out. While an overabundance of 8-bit games on the market might make some indie devs reconsider their game's retro art aesthetic, it seems Mr. Sandberg decided just the opposite and went in guns blazing with his latest project. The world of Iconoclast is absolutely saturated in beautiful, vibrant color, and the wide array of detailed level designs gives each area a unique look and feel all its own. Whether you're baking in the sweltering sun of the Shard's wasteland, exploring the beautiful underwater city of Isiligar, or just chilling on the Darlin Descent, your eyes are constantly bombarded by some of the prettiest pixelated plants and animals you've ever seen this side of Stardew Valley. The world design in this game really is quite impressive, but I think it's actually the diverse characters and epic bosses that makes Iconoclasts so memorable. Every single character, from our wrench-wielding heroine down to the most insignificant NPC, has an absurd amount of detail and polish. The various monsters range anywhere from cute and unassuming to screen-filling behemoths, and all of the animations are exaggerated and smooth as butter. The pixel art in Iconoclast really is something special, and I feel like it could even stand toe-to-toe with the likes of Shovel Knight, Owlboy, and the Shantae series. Speaking of, look who helped animate Pirate's Curse. You know what that means, right? Shantae cross Iconoclast, baby, make it happen! I'm not quite sure, but I think it might actually be illegal to make a game using pixel art and not give it a chiptune soundtrack. They just go together so well. It's like the indie game equivalent of peanut butter and jelly, or burgers and bacon, or jalapenos and bacon, or bacon and even more bacon. Bacon. Where was I? Oh yeah. Bacon's surprisingly robust chiptune soundtrack is the perfect complement to its gorgeous pixelated visuals. It utilizes a wide variety of musical stylings and instruments, and its overall peppiness really gets you pumped to start wrenching some nuts. No, not those nuts.
These nuts? Got him!
With just over 50 songs in its soundtrack, Iconoclast is absolutely overflowing with great music, from the exuberant opening theme to the docile tones of Settlement 17, right down to the multiple chaotic boss fights. The exciting and diverse music isn't the only enjoyable aspect about the game's sound design, though. The sound effects in Iconoclast are pretty great too. Robin's Charge Blast has a satisfying boom to it, the sound of tightening bolts is appropriately cartoonish, and this game totally wins the award for cutest gosh dang running sound effect ever. That's a thing, right? Let's make that a thing. Ratter, just put something up. Yay, Iconoclast! You win, that. Good job! I've seen a lot of reviews for Iconoclast that refer to it as a metroidvania, but I feel that's actually a misnomer. While it's true that you acquire weapon upgrades that allow you to reach new areas and gradually fill out the in-game map, backtracking is kept to a minimum, unless you want to find all the collectibles, and you're constantly told where to go and what to do by the natural progression of the story and the not-so-subtle tips in the pause menu, which makes the game feel more linear than your standard Metroidvania. Personally, I'd classify Iconoclast as more of a 2D puzzle platformer, but enough splitting hairs, let's dig in to some game mechanics. Iconoclast's basic jump, climb, swim controls handle exceptionally well and makes platforming feel tight and responsive, but there were a few quirks that took some getting used to. Nothing drastic, just a few weird, unintuitive button inputs, such as pushing down to enter a door, or standing on a block and pushing up to lift it. Something that did change gameplay in a super awkward and annoying way happened whenever I played as Robin's pirate pal Mina. Sure, overall she controls very similarly to her blonde comrade, but I just couldn't get used to aiming with her stupid shotgun, which made combat with her such a chore. Irritating as it might be, this tiny issue is completely forgivable since these segments are so few and far between, and fighting enemies with Robin's arsenal of weapons is a lot more versatile and fun. Like any good mechanic, our protagonist comes equipped with a wrench, which can be used to deflect projectiles, and a gun, which can be charged for an even bigger boom, both of which are used in multiple creative ways to defeat the game's wide variety of monsters and bosses. Along the way, you'll find upgrades for your wrench, although an electrified piece of metal seems like a thing you wouldn't want to put your bare hands on. And a couple new guns, one that shoots bombs and another that allows you to swap places with your target. I hate salad. Give me some of your pizza.
No, you're supposed to be on a diet. Eat your salad and shut up.
Got a better idea.
No. 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 Really?
Yup.
You want to play this game?
Yup.
All right.
What are you doing?
Well, you'll see.
What are you doing? Stop!
Serves you right. How's that feel?
My butt's all sticky.
There aren't any permanent upgrades for things like health or speed, but by searching hard-to-reach areas or solving difficult puzzles, you can find pieces of precious metals that can be used to craft temporary upgrades called tweaks. This is by far the weakest part of the game. You're only allotted 3 slots to equip the tweaks. You have to fill a meter in order for the damn things to even activate, and worst of all, their effects are so negligible they may as well not exist in the first place. I just didn't see a reason in crafting them, so I stopped trying to find the metals altogether, which is too bad because it cuts out a sizable chunk of puzzle solving. Guess you could say this game mechanic could use some tweaking. All things considered, I'd say Joachim has a lot to be proud of with his latest project. Iconoclasts is a very solid 2D adventure platformer and an impressive monument to 8 years worth of one man's blood, sweat, and tears. A lot of thought and effort obviously went into designing every single aspect of this game, but I'd say it's the finer details that really makes Iconoclasts stand out from the rest. Robin's goofy, off-balance running animation, choosing a nodding or shaking face instead of yes or no to save the game, the skull cloud that pops up when you kill an enemy. These tiny bits of polish might seem trivial, but without them, the game just wouldn't have the same heart. That being said, while I feel Iconoclasts is clearly a cut above the average adventure platformer, there's one major flaw that I think holds it back from achieving indie game greatness. For the majority of the game, there's a nice even balance between the slow-paced puzzle solving and exciting boss battles, but once the final quarter of the game hits, those puzzles just go out the window and everything devolves into one long boss gauntlet, which completely screws up the game's pacing and makes the endgame feel rushed. But hey, that's one YouTuber's take on it. I'm sure there are plenty of people who thought this mother of all enemy onslaughts was the perfect way to end Robin's epic adventure. I'm probably just chugging on the salt because this blue and white lump of happy kept murdering me in the face so hard. Oh well. There's still plenty of time for me to hone my piss-poor mechanic skills before Iconoclasts 2 drops sometime in 2026. I really enjoyed playing through Iconoclasts. Even though the story feels like it gets bogged down by esoteric minutia, and upgrading the tweaks it's not worth it in my opinion. The game's presentation is really overall quite impressive, and it's just a ton of fun to play. That's why I give Iconoclasts a rating of remarkable. So, until next time, I'm Chill.
Tatter reminding you, always keep the fuel level in your car low. That way, if you get carjacked, they won't get very far. See ya!
Can I at least have the wig back? My head's cold. Hey sheepies, hope you had an Icono blast watching this review. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Black Sheep Rev-Ewe and subscribe to the channel to keep up with all our sheepy shenanigans. Question for ya, who's your favorite video game mechanic? Let us know in the comments below and we'll see you next time.